This is going to be a weekly talk show. We're going to do it as whenever we can. We're going to discuss both Rod Design's Universe Mode and, of course, my Universe Mode. DeAndre is third. So we're going to start off with Rod's. We got a few topics here that we're going to start off for the first episode. So we got Jinder Mahal and Dolph Ziggler. Rod, let's get this out the way. Can you explain this? Yes, I saw that, and honestly, I would be upset too. But we all know Jinder, he gets hothead. You know, he could be a hothead, and I feel like he could have handled the Bret Hart situation a bit smoothly more. You could say that. I think that he was more angry at Dolph Ziggler than he was at Bret Hart, so he kind of took it out on Bret Hart with the whole yelling contract, trying to make these demands. And honestly, I feel like Jinder Mahal should just own up and just try to get a match back with Ziggler and try to get your revenge.
But I kind of think, Mahal needed that, and he everything. He went back to reality, kind of let him up, but he got two big boots, he had to lock them all up. Tyler Breeze, so going to the next, he's definitely outnumbered.
Yeah, so of course, Jinder Mahal winning Tyler Breeze on your lastest episode of SmackDown. And Jinder Mahal, you know, I wouldn't expect it. Especially getting rolled up. That just I'm telling you, like that for me, that was just shocker right there. He did, and that was insane. That really was. Yeah. Right. Well, what do you think, like, Dolph Ziggler's mindset is? You know, he rolled him up. Like, where do you think Dolph Ziggler's head is right now?
Dolph Ziggler is probably thinking, this guy's head. I've been 3 seconds. This is no reason why I should be able to beat this guy.
Right. Exactly. I mean, yeah. Bret Hart knows talent. Dolph Ziggler is a great talent. He's been great so far in WWE since your series has started. And rolling up Jinder Mahal in 3 seconds, man, that hurts Jinder. I know it does. That just hurts your pride, because Jinder Mahal, you know, he's a very underrated, tough competitor. And I think he really strives himself to get better and better. And of course, you know, Jinder Mahal, he's going to the matchup. He wants to beat Dolph Ziggler. And, you know, Dolph Ziggler is the better wrestler than Jinder Mahal. And Jinder just wants to go out there and he just wants to prove that he can hang with the best and perhaps eventually become the best. For real. Alright, we're going to switch subjects. We're going to go to my Universe Mode. So, first topic for me would be Rusev and Dean Ambrose. This thing has been brewing ever since almost 2 months ago now, when Dean Ambrose, The Rock sent Dean Ambrose to defend his WWE Championship against Dolph Ziggler in the main event. And you know, Rusev and Lana, they got dressed up all fancy, very respectable, and they wanted to just have a ringside look at the match. And for once, I thought Rusev wasn't going to do anything, but boy, oh boy, were we all full. And honestly, I'm not really that surprised, but then again, I was just disappointed. Because it's bad enough that you screw somebody of a match. I understand that. I get that. But if you screw somebody of not just any championship, we're talking about the Covenant WWE Championship. He helped Dolph Ziggler win, and honestly, it kind of backfired on Rusev. I remember I discussed that going into SummerSlam, Rusev made it worse for himself when he made it a triple threat match. He made it difficult for himself, because then he didn't have to be pinned just to lose. Right. And then remember, the triple threat match turned to a fatal 4-way. Sting returned. It was crazy, and Dolph Ziggler still managed, to retain. Now, this whole Rusev and Ambrose thing, it's gotten out of control. What's your thoughts on it?
For Rusev to be that dominant, what was the reason for it?
Right, you're the bigger guy.
You get one-on-one with you and Ambrose, you can't win that.
Right.
I believe Rusev could have definitely won that.
Right. Right.
You know, for yourself, now it's a triple threat match. Like you said, you harder for yourself. Just, you gotta keep your composure. You go out there and do that.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm glad you mentioned that, because when we talk about Rusev's mentality and what he should have done, let's talk about what Dean Ambrose should have done. Let's go to SummerSlam. Let's go back to SummerSlam. Fatal 4-way. Dean Ambrose was not focused on anybody else but Rusev. He was so angry. The fact that he wasn't even focused on getting his title back. He was just hell-bent on getting back at Rusev. Now, of course, we all know Dolph Ziggler retained. Now, this is what gets me kind of rambled up with Dean Ambrose. How is that at breaking point? You had the win. You hit Rusev with the dirty deeds, but he just felt that it wasn't enough. He wanted to keep on punishing Rusev, and that cost him the whole match. Ambrose got slapped into a second accolade, and he had no choice but to tap out.
The thing with both of them, Rusev got kind of like jealous hard.
Yeah.
Dean Ambrose now, he had his emotions took control.
Right.
And he ended up canceling out.
Exactly. Now, TLC's coming up. These two, to close out this subject, we got them one-on-one and a tables match. You got Rusev and Dean Ambrose. I am heavy favoring Rusev because, come on. I'm not saying Dean Ambrose is a weakling, but when we compare the two, when it comes to strength and most likely who's going to be put through that table, Dean Ambrose is going to fall to Rusev in a few weeks at TLC to Rusev. That's my prediction. I feel like Ambrose is going to put up a hell of a fight, but I just think Rusev is going to win. What's your thoughts?
I think the power is going to take it to Rusev. Power alone is just going to win the match.
Right.
Ambrose good with his he can use the ladder, chair, all this. Kind of like Mankind. That's what I was really remind me of, like a Mankind Stone Cold type.
Right.
Man, the strength is going to take over.
For real.
That's what I take a Rusev as well.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Ambrose going to survive, but he's going to be hell to survive.
Yeah. I think if Ambrose goes to the hospital, he's going to take Rusev with him. But let's switch back to your universe mode. So I have a question for where is Luke Harper? This is a big subject right now. Where is Luke Harper?
I had to give Luke Harper some time out. We had a sore back. He couldn't the title every single week. So Luke Harper, he's at home too, and he'll be back by no mercy.
Okay.
He's not having fun for him. It's going to be another open challenge. So, you got to wait and see.
Yeah. My question is for you. How impressive has Luke Harper's reign been? And tell me, how different is his reign compared to other people's reigns in your universe mode, in your series?
He's going against the top, one of the top talent. We're gonna get real rush.
Right. Great.
Becoming talent, high free agent.
Right.
And we know it wasn't like a slopping out here. You know, he dominated.
Right.
He dominated the match. He went against Christian, veteran.
Right. Veteran.
European champion.
Right. Christian knows everything about that title.
Completely dominating Eddie English.
Yeah, Jason Jordan. Matt Hardy. I think he did Jason Jordan too.
Yeah, Jason Jordan with the help of Rise, of course.
Right,
It makes
yeah.
a difference that you can hit this man with anything.
And he just keeps
And
fighting.
it's so hard. It's so hard to put him down. Like I've been saying, every time he get in that ring, he's not heated.
Right, I agree. I just totally agree. Luke Harper, ladies and gentlemen, is one hell of a competitor. He goes out there each and every night, and this guy, he can wrestle his ass off, ladies and gentlemen. Luke Harper is, for a guy so big, I've never seen somebody so agile since I've seen Cesaro. Like Luke Harper and Cesaro, you can't compare the two wrestling wise because they have two completely different styles. But when we talk about their athleticism, they are an exact match. And I mean, I'm telling you, man, when I look at your universe mode, I see so many top tier talent that are being pushed at the top. I'm seeing guys who fall down, they get right back up, and they're right back to the status where they left off, and they keep climbing and climbing and climbing. And that's what really impresses me about Luke Harper. This guy, he grinds to not it. For me, what's different about his reign, I feel like he's not even thinking about the European Championship. In my opinion, I feel like he doesn't even care. I feel like every time that bell rings, he doesn't care what he loses. He wants to hurt you. He wants to prove that he is the best. He wants to stomp on the opponent's neck. That's his mentality.
Exactly. That's exactly what it is, man.
That's it.
It's gonna be hard, but he does have the weakness. You just have to figure it out, man.
Right. That is crazy, but Luke Harper, he is one tough guy. Let's switch to mines. All right, Armageddon. Before I get into the real subject, the overall pay-per-view. What stunned you the most about the whole pay-per-view? We had a lot of great matches. A lot of great matches. We had Cassius Ohno and Randy Orton kick off the show. Dakota Kai, Bianca Belair. Now, before you answer this, I'll tell you the shocking thing to me was when the Revival became two-time tag team champion. But since Bobby Fish's leg was on the road, Vince McMahon stripped them soon as they got behind that curtain. And Undisputed Era is still Raw Tag Team Champions. That's the most shocking thing from Armageddon. What was for yours?
Mine is Cassius Ohno defeating Randy Orton.
I agree. Totally agree.
It's amazing how much damage Ohno took and he's kept getting up. He's kept getting up.
Right. Because you know, we both know how dangerous Randy Orton is in a regular match. We know that. We know that. But when it's anything goes, when he can do anything he wants, when he can get maniacal, when he can get sadistic, when he can be the Viper, when he can be the legend killer, I mean, it's a whole different Randy Orton. And I said in the beginning of the show, I said there's no way in hell Cassius Ohno could win that match. But when I heard that 3 count and his theme song played, I instantly regretted it. That was right. We're talking about the rivalry. Right. Exactly. Like we're talking about their rivalry going all the way back from Payback. Now remember when they were booked in the match Stone Cold Payback, it wasn't a rivalry, there was no build, it was just a match. Pretty good one. at the beginning, but it ended so quickly because, like what Ziggler did to Jinder Mahal, he rolled him up, and he got away with it. Orton was furious, but then Orton calmed down. But the thing that stirred up the rivalry, remember I told you Monday Night Raw before, Orton had sent a tweet out saying that that's the only way Cassius Ohno could ever beat me one-on-one, getting lucky. Cassius Ohno, and then that's when they started brawling, they started really beefing, they got really hectic. Their rivalry got so hectic, it interfered in the Miz and Jacob Christopher's rivalry. So then it was just all four of those guys just going at each other. But of course the Miz, Randy Orton, they were in cohesive with each other. So were Ohno and Jacob Christopher. And then you have Ohno and Orton, SummerSlam. Just as expected, just as I knew, Randy Orton gets the win. So when I saw Ohno redeem himself at Armageddon, that was crazy. And it's truly a new era on Monday Night Raw. Yes, I agree. Now, the real subject. We're talking about that. Let's talk about the Hell in a Cell match. The Hell in a Cell match. Let's not forget this. Vince McMahon told Kevin Owens face to face, there is no chance in hell you are walking out Universal Champion. Aleister Black and Sami Zayn, they created themselves a little friendship ever since Kevin Owens at Payback powerbombed Aleister Black on the apron and got the win. And then, surprisingly, at Money in the Bank, when it was Sami and Kevin Owens, Aleister Black was ringside to support Sami Zayn. That was a shocking return. And then they've been cohesive ever since. So when you see Kevin Owens trying to run in the Hell in a Cell and he has nowhere to go, Aleister and Sami Zayn, they're on you. Before I get into, we all know Owens won, but before I get into all that, who did you think was going to win between Aleister and Sami Zayn?
I mean, all the things, so you definitely know when you're having fun. Because almost always have fun.
That is true. I agree.
But we had nowhere to run. That's how much surprised. We had nowhere to run. Still there and he fought. And this whole match really showed what Kevin Owens is as a champion. You know,
right.
Things you got to do to win. But if you have to fight, you will fight.
Right, I mean, we're talking about them. I remember he tried to roll out and pretty much try to leave, and they just stopped him. And I remember that one part in the match where he just started teeing off at both of them. He really was fighting for his life, it seemed. But the thing that really made him not a coward, because this is not on him. This is completely on Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn completely and stupidly ran into the trap when Aleister Black was still kind of knocked off. He was still kind of dizzy on top of the cell. Sami Zayn made the initiative to exert his way inside the ring and run into a pop-up powerbomb, and that was it. So that Hell in a Cell match, first of all, it was 5-star. It was incredible. It was incredible. It was incredible. Now, let's switch back to you. Okay, this is something I've been looking forward to talk about, and not too many people. Some people know about it, but not too many people know about. And to me, this is very important news. Kyle O'Reilly and Bret Hart. Can you kind of explain what is really going on between the two? I know it's kind of low key, but it's kind of controversial. But we don't really know what's going on. Can you give some insights?
So, as you know, Kyle O'Reilly could have a match with Mustafa Ali.
Yes.
Kyle O'Reilly refused. He basically went out there, you know, the normal Kyle O'Reilly wasn't going to give away, you know, cowardly. So he leaves. No. This is really just for now. Mustafa Ali with the belt.
Yeah, we saw that. Yeah, that was just.
And then, you know, Kyle O'Reilly had a heated conversation backstage and then on the next part of the show. He said that Bret Hart was going to put Kyle O'Reilly in a triple threat match with Finn Balor and Mustafa Ali. You know, of course, that's not fair. You don't have any pin and use the title.
Yeah.
Maybe they send Colorado
and you know what? I kind of feel for Colorado a little bit because I remember before it was originally Balor and O'Reilly for the U.S. title, and then it was Mustafa and O'Reilly for the title, and then they eventually Bret Hart put them in a triple threat match. And honestly, I really thought Mustafa Ali was going to pull something crazy. I thought he was going to pull something crazy, but kind of
we don't do the famous title. Let me tell you what really started. When we started this whole thing, Finn Balor went one-on-one Mustafa Ali.
Yeah.
And Colorado basically interfered the one out of the match. That's what started everything.
Yeah. And we really think about it, Colorado kind of put himself in that predicament. Exactly. That's the thing with some of the heels. They think that they can get away with things and have no consequences, like with Owens and Stone Cold. Kevin Owens over here cheating and getting away and retaining the Universe title, and he wasn't going to have that with Stone Cold. And I think the same thing we're seeing here with Kyle O'Reilly and Bret Hart.
It's definitely going to be
Alright, let's switch back to me. So, Dolph Ziggler, WWE Champion, right? I just kind of want to talk about the whole Shawn Michaels thing. My subject was Shawn Michaels and Triple H. But before I get into that, I just want to give a brief summary. We all know The Rock, SmackDown GM. We knew we were going to have a SummerSlam host. It was HBK. It was great to see Shawn back. You know, Shawn Michaels, he doesn't just give us WrestleMania memories. He has some great SummerSlam memories. I don't think too many people talk about those. But you know, he came back. And you know what? The Rock thought that he did such a great job as a host. He wanted, I think, by far the most important matchup so far in my series, with the two most prestigious belts on the line, with Roderick and Ziggler, the WWE Championship. And you know, Shawn Michaels, he's been an enforcer before. We've seen him be a good enforcer, and we've seen him be a bad enforcer. But that was when Shawn Michaels was a full-time wrestler. He was still naive. But now we're talking about a much older Shawn Michaels. We're talking about a more mature Shawn Michaels. But boy, oh boy, we were mistaken. Soon as Roderick Strong was going to defeat Dolph Ziggler once again, Shawn Michaels slithers his way in the ring and hits him in the back of the head with a steel chair and causes the kid the matchup. Now, we heard what they both had to say. But what I want to talk about is Shawn Michaels Triple H, because Dolph Ziggler versus Triple H in the main event of SmackDown. We knew Shawn Michaels was going to stick his nose where it wasn't supposed to belong. But I never knew he would do it to his own best friend. We're talking about Triple H and Shawn Michaels. DX, they've been rolling together since 1997. And my thing is, who do you think who started? Was it Shawn Michaels, or was it when Triple H punched Shawn in the face? Who started it?
It has to be Shawn Michaels. Shawn Michaels tried to be the manager.
Right.
And he got in Triple H way. It's completely shocking because, best friends, had a long history. But I had to go Shawn Michaels. Shawn Michaels completely fought. It all started when you hit Roddy Strong back in the
honestly, because we know that Triple H, not necessarily that he said he disagrees with Shawn Michaels did, but he found it very interesting. So Triple H wasn't really all the way there. So it's kind of, for me, it's like, okay, Triple H, he punched Shawn because one, look, if you're a wrestler, Rob, you're in the middle of the matchup. Main event, sold out crowd, SmackDown Live. You have an opportunity to beat the WWE champion. Your best friend purposely tries to screw you. I mean, what do you do? I know I would punch him in the face. I mean, there's something like, and exactly, because when you compare what Shawn Michaels did to Roger Strong, and you compare what Triple H did to Shawn Michaels is way worse. He screwed a young kid, and then Shawn Michaels went out and said Roger Strong isn't a main event talent. He doesn't deserve to be WWE champion. Now, my next subject, let's talk about Roger Strong's reign. Just as great as it is for Luke Harper's reign. What is your thoughts on Roger Strong's reign? Now, before you answer this, let's remember the previous Intercontinental Champion, who is the current WWE Champion right now, Dolph Ziggler. Remember, I started draft day. Dolph Ziggler against Adam Cole, beat him. Right? Dolph Ziggler goes against Johnny Gargano, beats him. Hey, I put Backlash, Dolph Ziggler versus AJ Styles for the Intercontinental Championship, beats AJ Styles. And then I put him against John Cena, champion versus champion match, when John Cena was WWE champion at the time. Dolph Ziggler beats him. And then he goes against Roger Strong's. And no, we know Dolph Ziggler, he didn't underestimate him. They both went at it at their best, and Roger Strong beat him straight up. There is no complaints. No excuses. So, knowing that Roger Strong's the only person to beat Dolph Ziggler so far this year, what do you think about his whole title reign as a whole?
He was going good. Until he started needing help to win.
Right.
You know, he needed help to win, alright, cool. Until Shawn Michaels steps in.
Right, because Ziggler was.
Dolph Ziggler's ego just, he remained there.
That's what I'm saying. I feel like after losing to Roger Strong, his whole personality and his whole attitude change of being a wrestler. It's like now he needs help to win. We're talking about Dolph Ziggler, who used to just beat you straight up, and now it's different. It's very different, because remember, when he was Intercontinental Champion, he still was a heel. But now that he's WWE Champion, he's not just a heel. He's a coward. He cheats now. He'll do anything to keep the WWE Championship. And to me, it's just unacceptable. Now, to close my last subject out, then we're going to switch gears to yours, because you're the main event of this whole show in episode 1, because we have some breaking news over on Raw's Universe Mode, but we're going to get into that just in a minute. So to close me out, my last subject, Kevin Owens and Mr. McMahon. Crazy. It's crazy. What's your thoughts on that? What's your thoughts on that?
Vince has a habit of screwing over Canadians.
Yes.
You know, with Bret Hart. Not only that, he doesn't like the fact that Kevin Owens is the champion.
Right.
It's like Stone Cold didn't like the fact. But that's YouTube now.
Yeah.
You know? Vince is out of Vince. You say Kevin Owens the one out of control, but it's Vince the one out of control.
Right, because here's the thing. Ever since this whole Vince McMahon thing started happening, I've actually been able to gain a little respect from Kevin Owens. I've been on his side this whole dispute between him and Mr. McMahon. And when you compare what Stone Cold didn't like Kevin Owens, but he respects him now. Of course, we know that. But when you compare it to Vince McMahon, it's totally different. Because I feel like Stone Cold, I don't think Stone Cold just his intent just to disrespect Kevin Owens. I think Stone Cold wanted to see more from Kevin Owens. He wanted the best from Kevin Owens. With Vince, it's different. Vince is just completely biased. It's just completely biased. He just doesn't like him. And even though I understand the built-up anger, the frustration, in my opinion, you can disagree with me. I don't think Kevin Owens should have attacked Vince McMahon. I have one reason. Two reasons. One, he's your boss.
Exactly what I'm about to say.
Number two, you're about to get fired, dude. You're not going to be Universal Champion anymore. You're done. Kevin Owens has been champion for over 330 days. And now it's all about to come to an end because he made a very stupid decision to attack this man. Honestly, I feel like Owens should just let him walk away. Owens, you made your point, just let him walk. But now you assaulted him, and that's a lawsuit coming through him. I don't know. That is just insane. He does, but if I could side with one person, it would be Kevin Owens, because Vince McMahon, ever since filling in for Stone Cold, he has been bucking differently. He has been running the show differently. And Kevin Owens being Universal Champion, I think he stepped up as a leader for the whole entire roster of Monday Night Raw. He stepped up as a leader. Because you didn't see, let's think about this. You didn't see Braun Strowman behind Kevin Owens when he confronted Vince McMahon all by himself. We didn't see nobody else with Kevin Owens, no associates. It was Kevin Owens by himself, standing up to the boss, just like he did Stone Cold when it was SummerSlam, no holds barred. You didn't see Braun Strowman interfere with Stone Cold and Kevin Owens. It was them, straight up. Now, I'm gonna close that subject because we're about to get to the main event. Rod's Universe Mode. Rod, let's tell them the breaking news.
So the breaking news is that he's gonna have a real good WWE Championship this week injury. I believe that the injury is unfortunately a torn ACL. It's probably gonna keep going out maybe 6 to 8 months.
6 months to a year.
And, it's unfortunate, not barely 2 weeks into his reign when this happened, but I'm not gonna say it was bad luck. I'm gonna say things happen to a leader.
Yeah, and I know you have big news for WWE Championship. And switching No Mercy, switching the pace, you gotta switch the match. What is going to be the main event for the WWE Championship? Just lay it on
The
us.
main event is going to be Cesaro.
Okay, switch Superman. Oh,
And AJ Styles.
alright. AJ Styles, Cesaro, EC3, triple threat match for WWE Championship. Ladies and gentlemen, before we close the show, Rod, I'm going to give you my opinion on the whole thing in a minute, but I want to hear you first. Who's going to win? Who you got? Cesaro, EC3, AJ Styles. Who you got?
I'm picking Cesaro.
Alright, the Swiss Superman, but you're sadly mistaken. I totally disagree with you. Here's why. EC3 has not just been on top of his game with Edge, but he has been on top of his game without Edge. And remember, EC3 is not only better without Edge, But EC3 has become a prize fighter. He is better when the chips are on the line, and I feel like his strength, his tenacity, and I feel like his smarts, he is going to be the perfect WWE champion to replace Pete Dunne, because he's young, just like Pete Dunne, and he is in his prime. Cesaro, he's in his prime, but he's about to get out of it, and EC3 is going to capitalize on that. No disrespect to AJ Styles whatsoever, but EC3, this is his time. But ladies and gentlemen, other than that, we are going to see. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate you guys. This is Lastest News, Rod and Dre. My YouTube channel, DeAndre is Third, and my boy Rod Designs, that's his YouTube channel as well. I appreciate you guys joining us on episode 1. And we'll see you guys the next time. Appreciate it.